At the time Jian and Dukyung were arguing, the father came. The father saw Jian and immediately smiled happily. Then he led Jian into the house. Jian carefully entered to greet everyone. The mother immediately hugged her and the youngest sister Din also came to ask her. Everyone seemed very welcoming to Jian. At this time, Din gave her a gift. The mother asked where Dukyung's gift was. Dukyung embarrassedly said he forgot to buy it. Unexpectedly, the butler took out the flowers Dukyung had prepared in advance, which made him a bit confused. The mother gave her gift to Jian and told her to open it. It was a very beautiful necklace. The mother told Dukyung put it on Jian. No need. Dukyung immediately said wait until he buy it and do it later. Jian breathed a sigh of relief. The father also prepared a pen to give to Jian. Everyone in the house was laughing and talking happily. Only Dukyung didn't know what he was thinking. Then the mother took her to her room. At this time, the servant brought her luggage in. Jian was the last person to express her thanks. The mother was a little unhappy seeing that. She told her not to do that to the servants. Jian was a bit confused. The mother immediately said it was just their responsibility. Then when it was time to eat, Jian saw the food string in front of her eyes and didn't know how to use it. When she saw everyone taking a food string and placing it on her lap, once again, Jian was not careful and dropped her fork on the ground. She wanted to bend down to pick it up, but Dukyung told her not to move. At the same time, he walked behind Jian and told her to stand up. Jian didn't understand, then reluctantly stood up. At this time Dukyung took out the necklace from his pocket. He put it around her neck. Jian felt embarrassed standing still, while everyone praised her beauty. The mother also added another sentence. If she put on a little more makeup, she would be even more beautiful. She take Jian to the spa and get a new hairstyle. After more than a few hours, she became like this, beautiful. Everyone was in awe. Everyone feels like she has become a different person. Even Dukyung saw it and praised it endlessly. But Jian still felt something was unfamiliar. Not long after, her father gave her 100 million in spending money. This is the story of the ugly duckling turning into a swan in reality. At night Din came to tell her that she would have dinner with the whole family at 7 a.m. To build a good relationship with Din, she took the necklace to give to Din as a gift. But at night, lying on a bed worth up to 6 million, she couldn't sleep. The next day, at exactly 7 o'clock for breakfast, her mother gave her 100 million. Today it is necessary to spend all this money. This is her mission today. There's 100 million won in here. 100 million? Then she went to the mall. Jian immediately went in to see the products being promoted, but when she looked at the prices, she couldn't buy it because they were too cheap. She really had a headache as to how to spend so much money, buying clothes and watches for herself. But she still had a lot of money left, so she bought each family member a set of clothes. Not long after, she bought a bunch of things, then she went to her old house and introduced each gift to her mother. At this time, Jisoo walked over and took all the gifts Jian bought and brought them all out. At the same time, he also told her, I'm not a beggar, I don't need alms. When Jisoo said her father was chasing her and fell down the street, Jian was very worried. But at this moment Dukyung called. He asked her where she was when Jisoo suddenly called her father and was heard by Dukyung. Dukyung thought about Jisoo that he accidentally met a while ago, thinking that she had returned to her old home, so he lied to him that he would go to the shopping center 30 minutes later. Jian was extremely impatient. She quickly took the car to go to the shopping center. When he got to the garage, he took out all the things he bought for his adoptive parents and put them in the car, but Dukyung accidentally saw them. Next, she rushed to the cashier to pick up the bag she had deposited there. After finding Dukyung, the two went home. The mother wanted to see the items she bought. When Jian took out those items, the mother asked where was the receipt. Jian froze, not knowing what to say, because there were a lot of clothes she bought for her adoptive parents. When checked the receipt, she discovered that the number in it did not match the number. Jian finally admitted. Fortunately, the mother did not consider all of these things. When everyone had rested, Jian quietly ran out to handle the things she had bought for her adoptive parents. At this time, Hyuk called. While the two talked about money, this was heard by Dukyung nearby. He thinks Jian came into this house because of money. Without saying much, he immediately criticized her. Jian was about to explain when Dukyung interrupted. When you buy things for your adoptive parents' house, do you ever think about the feelings of this family member? That was my parents' money for her, but she didn't buy anything for her parents and Dan. Jian just kept silent. The next day, she returned all the clothes she bought for her adoptive parents and returned the remaining money to her biological mother. Not long after, the mother again found Jian to give her the daily schedule. Jian saw the tight schedule and was speechless for a moment. After a while, she had to go to the gym to practice to make her body more sexy. She is forced to replenish the knowledge lost over 25 years. In doing so, the wealthy family won't lose face. In the morning of physical education, the first step is to learn how to walk. As for Jian, in order to integrate into their lives, she proactively went into the room to find Dukyung and started talking, but they were discussing the jazz music. The two of them talked happily, but Jian didn't know what to say because she didn't understand music. Dukyung knew that she didn't understand music, so he asked if she felt this music was very good. Not bad, not bad. Just like that, they leaving her alone sitting there bewildered. It's really embarrassing to death. The next day, when Jian finished studying and was about to go home, she received a phone call. Hyuk called, said he was looking for her. Jian went to the rendezvous point with Hyuk. Right when I got off the bus, I accidentally dropped my phone. The driver was about to pick it up when Kian followed Jian. It turned out that Hyuk UC thought that Jian did illegal things because of the 20 million, immediately gave her the money and then told her to quit her job. But Jian couldn't tell him the truth, so she lied to trick him. When she went out to prepare to go home, she discovered her phone was gone. She quickly walked along the road searching. It was at this moment that conditions appeared behind her. Looking at Jian's attempt to break the lie, he decided not to say the phone was in his hand. Suddenly the phone rang and he quickly hid in a corner. At this time, Kian received a text message from the company to join the meeting. He decided to teach Jian a lesson. Just keep searching slowly. Jian searched and couldn't find her phone and was extremely nervous. The mother here called Jian and discovered that the other person had turned off the phone. She then called the housekeeper to ask if Jian was home yet, but the housekeeper said she wasn't home yet. At this time, the mother began to worry and quickly went to find her husband to clarify the situation. She fears Jian will disappear like 15 years ago. The husband was also extremely scared of his child because Kian was in a meeting at the moment and did not see his mother's phone call. Not long after Jian came home, her father asked her where she went. The mother suddenly rushed in without saying a word and immediately hugged Jian tightly. She was very afraid of losing her daughter again. When she knew her daughter had lost her phone, she didn't listen to her and told her that even if her phone was lost, she still had to go to school. Jian had to repeatedly apologize right at this moment because Kian returned. Even though he witnessed the scene, he never came forward to explain. The mother was afraid that she would lose Jian again, so she immediately forbade her to go out alone. From now on, Jian's freedom is gone. Do-kyung returned to the room to take out Jian's phone but did not return it to her and put it in a drawer. At this time Jian's brother, Jitae, to increase sales. He was handing out leaflets on the street. At night, when he saw his girlfriend going on a blind date with another man, he immediately pulled Yuhai back. He got into an argument with Yuhai. It turns out that Jitae just wanted love and didn't want to get married, so Yuhai decided to go on a blind date. Yuhai was about to turn around and leave when Jitae immediately pulled her back. At this moment the father passed by. At this time, there are more and more people we know. Jitae finally said why he didn't want to get married. He is the eldest son of a poor family. He has no hope of marriage, so he will not get married. The reason he never wants to get married is because he doesn't want his child to suffer poverty like his father, so he won't get married. When the father heard his son's words, he blamed himself. He knew that because his business failed, his son had no money and could not get married. Jitae decides to give up on Yuhai. He dropped the bag on the ground, picked it up, put it in her hand, then turned and walked away. Yuhai saw him leave. She loves Jitae but cannot accept his poverty. In the end, the two people went in different directions. Are you willing to accept a handsome but poor man? How hard is it to be a child of a rich family? Because of the foul, he was grounded and was not allowed to go out. Even when she herself was sick, Jian did not dare to tell her family. Jian was heartbroken and cried all night. Today, Jisoo called her. On the phone came Jisoo's crying sound. After hearing that, Jian immediately ran towards her. Not long after, they arrived but discovered that Jisoo was drunk. After learning that Jisoo failed to confess her love, she got so drunk. She sadly hugged her and took Jisoo home. Mom told me that next time, if you have nothing to do, don't come here. Jian immediately explained that Jisoo was drunk, so she took her home. When Jian was about to call a taxi to go home, she saw her father coming home. She immediately hid in a corner and looked at her father from afar. She didn't know how to face him. At the same time, the mother learned that Jian dared to return to her adoptive mother's house on her own. She immediately brought all things she brought and threw them away. The sister also throws some sarcastic remarks. She is from a poor family. When Jian had just arrived home after realizing she was at fault, she immediately bowed down and apologized to her mother, but of course she still couldn't avoid being attacked by a spear. After she returned to her room, she discovered that all her things were gone, even her clothes had been thrown away. She went to the inn to ask about this matter. She immediately said it was the lady's order. All her things had been thrown into the trash. After hearing this, Jian felt angry and cried. That was her only memory with her family. Jian immediately ran to the trash to look for things, searched for an hour but couldn't find anything. She was crying. Jian sits on the bed, crying uncontrollably. Looking at the strange room in front of her, she felt extremely lonely and lost. She went to the kitchen and wanted to drink some wine to calm her nerves, but found that she didn't have a bottle of wine, so she sneaked out and tried to escape to buy alcohol. But she was discovered by Do-kyung, who scared her and almost made her fall to the ground. She thought Do-kyung would criticize her, but unexpectedly he immediately took a wooden doll and gave it to her. Seeing that, Jian was very happy. After Do-kyung learned that Jian wanted to drink, so he immediately took her out to drink. That night, they confided many things to each other. they decided they would forget all the sad things. She discovered that their family's wooden dolls were kept on the bedside table, without missing one. Jian immediately ran forward and hugged them. To others, these are just ordinary dolls. But to Jian, these are extremely important things to her. The next day when all the workers were cleaning, they even invited the most famous cleaning company because they were preparing to welcome a very important person. That is Jian's grandfather, who is also the chairman. In this family, he is the most powerful person. After he returned home, the thing he wanted to do most was meet Jian. When Jian first met her grandfather, she felt a little nervous and scared. He moved forward and hugged Jian. Jian also let go of the tension because of that. She also hugged her grandfather tightly. Seeing this, Dan was extremely jealous. Her mother, after seeing the reunion of her grandfather and grandson, was extremely touched. While eating, grandfather even took the initiative to pour wine for Jian. This is considered a great honor for her. He even picked up food for her, so you could see that her grandfather really liked this granddaughter. Moreover, he even lied to her to come to the group to work tomorrow. He wanted her to get used to the corporation's working environment as soon as possible. The next day she was downstairs at the corporation. She thought about previous injustices, helping people carry water rations and even being forced to go to the trash can to pick up bottles. Like this time when she came back, she used the identity of the leader. We are preparing to welcome a very important employee. Just as they were discussing who that person was, a series of powerful footsteps suddenly arrived. At this moment, it seemed like they were all eyes to look at that important character. Ha-young saw famous brands on Jian. Earplugs are also a type designed specifically. The Jian in front of them was completely different from the Jian who used to only wear cheap market clothes. After Ha-young calmed down, she was greet Jian, only Ha-young angry and returned to her seat. Jian decides to go make coffee for everyone. Then she went to the tea room and Ha-young also went there. She asked Jian why she was wearing designer clothes all over her body, but Jian did not reveal her true identity. Speaking of which, since the last time she used their relationship to steal my position, they are no longer friends. When Ha-young heard that, he didn't care at all and turned around to leave. After returning to her position, she told everyone that Jian's personal life was not clean. Otherwise, how could anyone suddenly buy a bunch of branded items like that? But her colleagues spoke in favor of Jian. During the meeting, everyone was talking about proposals to celebrate the company's 14th anniversary. The director asked Ha-young how the situation had progressed, but Ha-young said she is still planning. This made the director extremely unhappy. 5 colleagues said that there was a plan proposed. Let her continue working. At this time, Jian was extremely surprised that her initial plan had been cancelled by the company, but the director explained that after she left, they felt that her project was very good, so learning that her project was selected by the company, she was extremely happy. At night, everyone kept asking Jian how she felt on her first day at work. Jian said at first it was a bit shy, but then it got much better. Furthermore, she also told everyone that she would be in charge of organizing. Dookyung said, "Why isn't this project your name?" Jian said that because she had been dismissed by the company before. He said he would try his best. The next day, everyone was spreading the news that Dookyung had become vice president. At this time, Ha-young arrogantly said that she had met Dookyung. He and her father played golf together. After hearing this, the colleagues were extremely surprised that Jian, who was while having dinner, Myung-hee awkwardly started talking to the ladies and ignored her existence. Unexpectedly, she directly told everyone about Myung-hee when she found her daughter. This made her extremely surprised, because before the grandfather ordered everyone to keep this matter a secret. Myung-hee never expected that this matter would be revealed in today's meeting. Surely someone secretly brought this up to the outside. The ladies, after hearing this, blamed her for hiding such a big matter from them. Because didn't want to offend the ladies, Myung-hee could only say that in a few days they would announce this to the outside world. But her words still did not calm the ladies down. And Myung-hee's opponent wants to meet her daughter today. And the ladies also very much agreed with this idea. From the looks of it, they really wanted to see her lose face, remembering Jian's shrieking appearance, but she did not dare to offend those ladies. After receiving her mother's phone call, she wanted her to be there within an hour to welcome a few important guests. Jian immediately said she was very ugly, but she still had to act like she didn't hear anything, then told that she had to be here in an hour, then turned off the phone. Jian was extremely confused as to what to do, so she immediately called Dookyung for help. Dookyung also realized recognized by people, they were definitely trying to defame her and his mother. He immediately called his secretary and told him to immediately prepare 10 sets of the highest quality clothes. At this time, Jian was washing her face and suddenly received a phone call from Dookyung. Dressed right in the car, put on her bracelet, and after a while she finally got out of the car, beautiful, to the meeting place. After getting there, Dookyung told her, "The rest is up to you." She is very stressed. Dookyung says, "You're different now. Now I am the golden lady of a tycoon family." And the ladies here are blaming Myung-hee for why Jian hasn't come yet. She immediately said she will come in 5 minutes. It was at this moment that the waiter came. She touched the wound on her leg and suddenly remembered what her adoptive mother said to her. At that time, her mother once told her and Jisoo that when she was only 1 month old, she was injured. If I was a month old at that time, then I was born in 1991. Eun-suk went missing in August 1992, when she was 3 years old. So she is not Eun-suk. She was really panicking. She is not the daughter of a bad family. This mother found her daughter who had been lost for 25 years. Unexpectedly, she discovered that she was not her biological daughter. She quickly called her adoptive mother to confirm the result, and her adoptive mother immediately turned off her phone. This made her even more confused. Then she immediately looked for the housekeeper and asked her how she knew that she was the missing daughter of this family. The housekeeper said she did a DNA test. She put down the doubts in her heart and drank a glass of cold water. And remember what my foster mother said before. You are the golden lady that my mother found. She finally lost her doubts. During dinner, Jian asked her mother if she had a photo of her when she was a child. Mom said that year, my grandfather threw it all away to make everyone forget her. At this time, her father asked her whether she had a photo of herself as a child or not. Jian said that because her family was poor when she was young, she moved house all the time. Her photos are also gone because of that. The next day at work, Do-kyung, as vice president, went to the sales department to find out the situation. Jian clearly explained to the conference the plan to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. After Do-kyung heard this, he immediately praised Jian. Remembering the past, Jian had to suffer resentment here. He asked the director why he wrote Ha-young's name on this project in the past. Unexpectedly, Ha-young directly said that he told her to do that. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone was surprised. The director became even more bewildered, not expecting to encounter such a clumsy teammate. The director explained that it was because Jian resigned, so Ha-young was chosen to replace her. But Do-kyung made every effort to blame him. How dare they take advantage of other people's projects like that? Then asked Jian if they should be fired or how to handle it now. But the honest Jian said that now the project is hers, it's okay for them to know they were wrong. Do-kyung tells Jian to take a trip to his office. Jian was a bit surprised because it was very difficult for the company to meet the vice president and she had such a privilege. After arriving at the office, the two talked happily. She immediately returned to her department. All of her colleagues deliberately treated her well to create relationships, completely changing their attitudes compared to before. When Jian went to the tea room to make coffee, the director specially gave her a gift certificate. Also said that this is a benefit for employees. Jian took the gift certificate to her adoptive parents' house, but there was no one in the house. She was about to write a piece of paper and leave when she suddenly remembered her father's words. She immediately took out the photo album in the house and looked at it. Are there any photos of her? No. She looked for a photo to take together, but when she opened the album, she discovered there were no photos of her. Jian feels very strange, so when she got off work, she called Jisoo to ask about her photography. Jisoo said her mother often cried looking at her photos. This makes Jian even more skeptical about her identity. To clarify this matter, she went to her brother, who said that year her mother had spent several months at her grandmother's house. After returning, she immediately discovered that Jisoo had changed. Mom told him that it was because Jisoo grew up that he changed like that. After hearing this, Jian was extremely confused. She immediately ran to the internet room to find information related to the disappearance. Finally found Eun-suk's photo. Because the photo was so blurry, she couldn't tell if it was her. So she came to my house again and started searching for her photos. Soon she finds Jisoo's photo in a box. She quickly took out Jisoo's photo and the photo online. Finally discovered that he was indeed not Eun-suk. Her sister is Eun-suk. The tycoon family offers a reward of 6 billion won to whoever finds the daughter. 25 years later, they finally found her but didn't know it was a mistake. After Jian learned the truth of the incident, Jian could not accept that her mother wanted her to study abroad and lied to her. Jian understands the fear of that tycoon family. This will have consequences for their entire lives. What should I do? Parents. What should I do? While she was grieving, the company called and asked her to leave immediately. It turns out that Do-kyung's uncle is not satisfied with her plan. Jian arrived at the company and the director told her to quickly handle the project and submit it no later than tomorrow afternoon. Jian has to work overtime until late at night. She was still thinking about her identity in her mind, unable to concentrate on writing a plan. After all, the plan still has to be done. Jian was so busy that she didn't get home until 3 a.m. Jian hopes that this journey will have no end, because now she's really scared to return to that rich house. She reached the door of the house but she did not dare to enter. When Jian turned around to leave, Do-kyung called her back. He asked her why she came back and then wanted to leave. She said she wanted to get some fresh air and then ran into her room, to the room that originally belonged to Jisoo. Jian laughed, a helpless smile before life. Breakfast the next day Jian didn't came. The housekeeper said she had already arrived at the company at 5 a.m. The father immediately complimented Jian's personality, which was exactly like her mother's. Both are strong women who love work. Jian is currently editing the plan. The cleaning lady walked in and was startled. Jian turned to look at the clock, 7:40. At noon, Do-kyung scheduled lunch with Jian, but she fibbed, claiming she had already ordered. Now she is very afraid of coming into contact with that tycoon family. Jian didn't even dare to use the card her mother gave her. Without money, Jian could only eat street food. She was looking at Jisoo's photo when Jisoo called. Hearing Jisoo's voice, Jian wanted to cry even more. Jisoo said Dad's hand was injured. Jian couldn't help but burst into tears. She said a few words and then turned off the phone. Jian remembers the old days. Her father didn't want her to go to that rich house. She also blamed him for not wanting her to live a better life. Now that she knows it, he wants the best for her. At this time, Do-kyung drove by and saw alone Jian sitting there without even ordering food. He thought Jian was working, so he didn't bother her anymore. In the afternoon, Jian submitted the plan to the director. The director was very happy. He gave the plan to Do-kyung and praised himself for putting great pressure on Jian. That's why the new plan was completed so quickly. Now Do-kyung understands why Jian is so tired. The director was waiting for a reward when Do-kyung scolded him. At this moment, Jian was breathing air, deciding to tell the truth to her mother today. Returning home at night, Jian was about to speak when a woman ran in. She knelt before her mother. It turns out that this is the person who revealed Jian's news. The mother wanted to punish her, so she cut both her husband and son's jobs. No company even accepts them anymore. No matter how much this woman begged, the mother still did not waver. She added that if she dared to trick her again, there would be more dire consequences. Jian stood still and watched the incident. Jian was scared to leave. Dan saw that and thought Jian was afraid of the scene just now. So comfort her, this is just a light punishment. Mom hates people who lie to her the most. Before, someone said bad things about Do-kyung and then their entire family died. Jian was even more scared. She immediately ran out. She didn't know how to face that rich family. She returned home and asked her mother why she had to lie and why she and Jisoo were exchanged. The mother was silent. At this moment the father also entered. Jian immediately blamed her father for not telling her at that time. She said she was miserable every day. I don't dare to use the bank card. I don't even dare sleep in that bed. Come with me, go tell them the truth. A while later they arrived at that tycoon. The mother was very surprised by their appearance. She asked what happened to the two of them. Their daughter is not Jian, she is Jisoo. They still heard him wrong, so they asked him to explain again. The rich dad grabbed him. At this time, Jian returned from work and saw the scene before her eyes. She quickly ran to kneel in front of her parents. Those people slowly turned towards her. Even though it was just a dream, it was also the image in her heart right now. Look at the clock, it's only 4 o'clock. At this moment, Tae-soo also seemed to feel something. She went to the park that she used to go to with her father. She looked up and saw her father sitting in the old chair. Jian was extremely surprised, but she did not dare to approach. She could only watch from afar. Then she went to the company again. Seeing that the anniversary is coming, Jian silently makes a decision. While at work, she told the director that on her anniversary she wanted some human resources. The director said it was reasonable. So who do you need? I need Ha-young. Ha-young? Everyone was extremely surprised. Jian said that besides herself, only Ha-young understood this plan. The reason for doing so is because Jian wants to quickly leave this company. She didn't want the group's 40th anniversary to have problems because of her. She decided to let Ha-young participate, and at the same time wanted Ha-young to ensure that even without her, the operation would go smoothly. Ha-young agrees. At night, Jian walked like a lost soul. She was about to go to a convenience store to buy miscellaneous food for dinner when Do-kyung pulled her back. She was startled with fear. Do-kyung didn't say anything, he just told her to quickly get in the car. In the car, Jian has never seen Do-kyung so cold. She thought she had been discovered, so she was worried. When she got off the bus, Do-kyung didn't wait for her. When Jian arrived home, the whole family was waiting for her. Waiting for her to sit down, the rich mother told her to answer honestly. Jian is ready for the worst to happen. Rich grandfather requested a press conference to publicize Jian's true identity. Do-kyung quickly calls Jian. He said he would reveal her identity today. Jian was extremely scared because she knew she was just a fake lady. If this story is published, it will affect that rich family. What should I do? A press conference has been prepared. Grandpa was about to announce Jian's identity when she suddenly appeared and interrupted him. She wanted to have a chance to speak. With her grandfather's consent, she walked to the podium to speak. She started telling how she and Do-kyung met. To prove the authenticity of the incident, she also invited the staff present at the hall that day. She then held up the photo and explained that this was when she asked for Do-kyung's part-time salary. She even held out her phone to show everyone the money conversation. Someone asked how to prove that this is her account. Jian had prepared in advance, so she showed the printed proof data. After comparing and determining the same number, she also showed the data she found to everyone. Grandpa looked proudly at Jian. After finishing, Du-kyung invited everyone to eat, but Jian lied that she had something to do so she couldn't go, and then she worked overtime alone. Unexpectedly, it was 1 a.m. She went to the convenience store to drink alcohol. At this time, only alcohol can numb her nerves so she can't think about her own business. At this moment, Du-kyung walked over. Because to thank Jian for today, he wanted to hug her, but she pushed him away. She really couldn't stand this torment anymore. She turned the card over to Du-kyung. Jian said she was not his sister, her mother switched her and Jisoo. He said his mother was very careful and did a DNA test, so it was definitely because I drank too much. Jian said it was true that DNA was done, but the wound on her leg was the clearest proof. Du-kyung found the situation too vague, so he angrily returned home. He intended to ask his parents to clarify the situation. Jian begged him not to tell everyone the truth, because she is afraid that her rich mother will harm her parents, and will even leave her whole family unemployed. She wants Du-kyung to give her a chance, so she can complete the company's celebration and make up for this mistake. If you do that, you will probably be able to ask for their forgiveness. After all, after living together for so long, Du-kyung is soft-hearted. At this time the mother called. Jian opened the phone without knowing what to say. Du-kyung took her phone and told her to help her. He returned alone. When he got home, Du-kyung thought about everything. He cannot accept the fact that Jian is not his sister. Jian returned to the room and looked at the bed. She didn't dare lie down to sleep. She helplessly crawled on the edge of the bed. At 5 a.m., she quickly woke up. She didn't dare stay another minute. After taking a shower, she stepped out and accidentally ran into Du-kyung. He knew she was afraid of meeting people. Later, during the meal, Du-kyung told everyone that Jian was feeling tired from work, so he let her take a nap. When her parents left, Du-kyung opened Jian's room door and saw Jian curled up on the edge of the bed. Even though he wasn't his brother, he still felt very heartbroken. Have you ever met a daughter-in-law like this? Didn't need money, bought her husband's parents a washing machine, because to help her husband's parents pay off their debt, she only eats instant noodles. She didn't even need a wedding dress. When Jian knew her brother was about to get married, she immediately went to Du-kyung, begging him to help her until her brother got married. Du-kyung immediately refused. The next day, due to Ha-yun's negligence, the company's celebration had problems. Faced with Du-kyung's questioning, she didn't know anything. Du-kyung knows this is important to Jian. He went to Jian and said he would agree to hide it until her brother got married, but he had one condition. That is, she must not let her parents see anything unusual nor hide from them. Then Du-kyung took her home. He said a few words to her parents. Jian was about to return to the company when her mother asked her why she didn't swipe her card. Jian said she was afraid people would find out her identity, so she only used cash. When she got back to the company and saw a photo of herself when she was happy, she burst into tears. She wants to return to those days but can't anymore. She tiredly returned home and saw a gift box on the table. She put the gift box in the closet. Seeing her father treat her so well, the feeling of guilt became even stronger. Du-kyung knows that Jisoo is his biological sister. He couldn't help but go to her place of work, pretending to accidentally meet her. Then the two sat down to eat together. Seeing that Jisoo only ordered a sandwich, Du-kyung thought her family had no money, so he was extremely heartbroken. Jisoo told Du-kyung that it wasn't difficult at all. The person who had the hardest time was Jian. Every time she was upset, Jian helped her solve it. Du-kyung now knows that Jian also has a difficult life. The next day, they were discussing the plan when Jian's phone rang. Grandpa said he wanted to go abroad for a while, so he asked Du-kyung and Aunt to come to his house today. Du-kyung was afraid that she would reveal a mistake, so he called him and said the car had broken down. Unexpectedly, his aunt was there. Hearing him say the car broke down, he said he would call someone to pick them up. Du-kyung had to take Jian to a deserted area. In order for the lie from before to become true, he only had to destroy the car. Jian went online to find a way to break the car's brakes. She then got out of the car to command Du-kyung. Seeing that Du-kyung was ready, she immediately signaled. Seeing that Jian seemed unable to do it, Du-kyung said she would bribe her aunt's driver. Finally managed to break the brake cable. Jian watches Du-kyung show off his achievements. Du-kyung was also happy and laughed. Seeing her simple appearance, the flame of love in him suddenly flared up. He shyly hid in the car. Jian talked to him, but he didn't dare look her in the face. Then he got out of the car and lifted the stone out. Then he received his phone call again. Afraid that the road to the airport would be blocked, he decided to go ahead and tell the two people not to come over anymore. Two people were stuck in this deserted place. Jian works every day until dawn. That day, to make the company's celebration a success, she drove alone to the deep mountains to find a shaman to help her. Unfortunately, the car got stuck in a quagmire and she couldn't drive through. Jian immediately got out of the car to check. She discovered the rut was very deep. She took out her phone and was about to call for help when she discovered there was no signal. Over here, Dookyung called her but couldn't get through. He was very worried. At this time the secretary walked in and told him the temperature in the mountains was now -2 degrees. Dookyung thought about Jian's thin clothes as she left. It will definitely happen. He immediately went to the supermarket to buy a long fur coat. Before paying, he quickly left. On the way he called Jian but no one picked up. A while later he reached that mountain area. At this moment, seeing Jian's car, he quickly got out to check the situation but could not see Jian's trace. Co Jian. There was no reaction. He guessed Jian might have gone up the mountain. He took the fur coat and ran after it. It went on like that until night. At this time, Jian was also injured in her leg. Her cold arms hugged her body. She unfortunately stepped on a stone and fell down. What should do now? She heard someone calling her. She quickly stood up to find that voice. At this time, Dookyung came. She looked at Dookyung in surprise. How could he be here? Dookyung didn't say anything and ran to put on her coat. Dookyung dressed her while blaming her for not knowing how to bring an extra shirt when going out. The fire of love is rekindled. Jian said he had received his shaman's consent. He said he would come help at the 40th anniversary. Dookyung then raised his flashlight to light the way. Jian walked ahead. The two of you go together. Jian intended to let Dookyung go first, while he stayed to wait for the tow truck to arrive, but Dookyung did not agree. She had to sit in Dookyung's car and go home together. At this moment, her mind was filled with the image of Dookyung wearing her shirt. She thought it was because she was crazy. To make Jian happier, Dookyung took her to eat at a place she used to love the most. Jian was even more hesitant because Dookyung had never eaten sheep food before. Jian poured rice into the pot but she didn't want to eat it. She doesn't want to eat anything. Then they drove back. Jian was so tired that she fell asleep by the window. Arriving at the house, Dookyung intended to wake her up, but seeing how tired she looked, he was extremely heartbroken. He didn't have the heart to wake her up. He decided to stay in the car with her for a while. Today's episode is here. Remember to subscribe to the channel to wait for the next episodes. Today's episode ends here. Thank you for watching. Now I say goodbye and see you again.